Hello and welcome to Ingression, the only series that gives the best tips, tricks, and information on the game that we all love, Ingress. I, of course, am your lovable Enlightened instructor, Incredible Hulk, aka Colin Williams. On this episode, we're going to give you the basic lowdown on Ingress Anomalies. We're going to go ahead and cover anomaly strategy in the upcoming 201, but today we're going to cover not only what anomalies are, but how you can attend, why you should attend, and what to bring, and what to expect when you get there. And this info is based on not only lots of great collective data from the Ingress community as a whole, but also my personal experience. I've attended several anomalies, including Darsana, Recursion, Shonen, I'm sure more coming up. So let's go ahead and get rolling on our episode about the most exciting piece of Ingress you can experience, anomalies. So first up, what is an anomaly? Since Ingress is a real-world game, Niantic hosts real-world events, and an anomaly is where a bunch of players meet at designated locations across the world and engage in an all-out civil war battling over a group of portals known as clusters. And anywhere from a few dozen to a few thousand agents will be battling it out all within a few blocks of each other. And it's just insane. I mean, it sounds fun, right? And that's because it is. It's one of the craziest and most fun times that you'll ever experience. You'll get to meet agents from not only across the country, but across the world. You'll gain massive amounts of AP, and more importantly, you'll be awarded with a special badge for attending. And you'll likely get a chance to meet and play with actual Niantic employees as well. And yeah, at key anomaly sites, you can even meet some of the in-game story characters like Susanna Moyer or Hank Johnson or Clue, or even, of course, the November Lima 1331 van, the ominous van. So you have new friends, you have insane Ingress play, you have swag and celebrity. So the next anomaly should be on your calendar to attend for sure. And I know you're probably saying, yeah, Colin, I want to attend, just tell me where to go. Well, the location of anomalies actually changes with each anomaly series to make sure that lots of players get a chance to attend. So they have not only primary sites, but they also have satellite sites for each anomaly series that are just spread all across the world. I mean, former primary anomaly sites have included places like Dublin, Chicago, Prague, Taipei, Kyoto, and even Salt Lake City, Utah. And then their satellite sites are also all over the world as well. So maybe Hong Kong, London, Auckland, and they also have Boston was an anomaly site. So, you know, go Red Faction. So, I mean, anomalies will take you to just these beautiful, amazing, just world-class, beautiful destinations, and Salt Lake City. So to find out where the nearest upcoming primary satellite site is to you, just check out ingress.com/events, and there'll be a more info button next to each site that will take you to a Google Plus page with specific information about that event, so you know exactly where to go. And so now that you know where to go, let's go ahead and cover what you should bring. You know, obviously, this is going to be an outdoor event. As with any outdoor ingressing, you want to make sure you're dressed for the weather. And if your skin color is lighter than Crayola's Banana Mania crown color, you might want to bring sunscreen. And I mention this specifically because every anomaly I've been to, someone has forgotten sunblock, and they have joined the burnt red faction on there. But beyond avoid getting burned, there's going to be some other things that you need. Number one, most important, hands down, thing you're going to want is a portable external battery bank or extra batteries for your phone, because anomalies last at least 4 hours, and even the best phones get sucked dry by that battery vampire known as Ingress well before that on there. So that's going to be number one that you want. And then number two, you're going to want comfortable shoes. You're going to be walking at least a couple miles, usually more. And although some players insist on doing anomalies in high heels, LV, most of us just look like awkward baby giraffes stumbling between portals when we try to wear high heels to them. So comfortable shoes. Number three, you're going to want bottles of water. Another thing I'm surprised agents will sometimes forget, you're going to be out walking around, so make sure to stay hydrated. And you can order hint water ahead of time, so that way you'll have water that'll also give you ingress codes for when you start running low on gear. And then number four, if you're going to be in an anomaly where there might be rain, you know, obviously you're going to bring a raincoat or an umbrella, but you're also going to want to have a plastic bag for your phone to make sure that you can still keep playing Ingress, because it'll let you, if you have like a thin plastic bag, like a Ziploc bag, you can actually still play through that bag as well. And then lastly, for the physical items, try to make sure that you're repping your faction either with some custom Ingress threads like my shirt, or at least try to go ahead and represent the colors so that way they know who you're with. So that's going to be the physical stuff on there. You're also going to need specific in-game items to make sure that you have, first off, as far as in-game items go, anomalies are not the time for low-level gear whatsoever. So just drop any low-level gear that you have, and then drop all of those keys you have that you don't need. You usually only want level 6 and above resonators, and you'll usually arrive to an anomaly with a full 2,000 items, a lot of level 8 bursters. And by the end of the day, you'll be lucky if you have even a few hundred of those items left on there. Because in order to figure out exactly what it is that you need, go ahead and try and coordinate with whoever is running your team side and strategy for the anomaly before you arrive so that they can assign you a position. You can actually be able to find out who's running your faction's operations, if you don't already know, through the Google Plus event page that you found by clicking on that More Info button there. And then depending on your position, you'll try to bring different gear. So here is what I would recommend as the gear loadouts, depending on your assigned position. And this is based off of not only previous recommended loadouts for anomalies, but it's also been tweaked a little bit with my own experience and some pieces that we're going to cover of strategy in Anomaly 201. So if you need to see this loadout list better, check in the video description below. There is a link where you can see this in a much easier to read area. And it's by no means the only option, but I think it provides some good, guidelines to start off with. So, as you'll notice at the top, the captain wants to be pretty versatile in what they have, but also still be able to attack very strong at the exact same time. Our destroyers, much like Hulk, they just mainly smash. So they're going to be XMPs and Ultra Strike heavy. And then deployers are going to be loaded out with resonators to go ahead and try to capture and keep portals. Modders are going to be shield heavy, so that way they can go ahead and protect those resonators that are placed down. And then when it comes to the flex, well, flex is pretty evenly balanced, and that just kind of fills in with the gaps, because oftentimes you'll get to anomalies and they'll start, and then you'll realize that you need either more destroying or more deploying than you previously thought. So flex can kind of go both ways on there. So go ahead and find your event, find your faction organizer, find your captain, then plan for your loadout. And often players in your area that aren't going to the anomaly will be more than happy to donate gear that you might need, because it's pretty hard to find to hack 150 Axis shields, but your collective community should be able to help you out. So if you've got your gear and let's say you're at the anomaly site on the day, now what happens? Well, generally most sites are actually going to start with not the way you think. It's a group photo. Yeah, because before the anomaly events, because that way you can remember that awesome day forever, y'all. And now that you've got the group photo done, let's go ahead and meet up with your team and head to the first group of portals that are known as Cluster 1. There's usually going to be around 4 clusters total. This will be the first one of those. And clusters are going to have a lot of portals. They'll have between 15 or 30 portals per cluster at a small site, and then 40 to 80 portals at the larger anomaly sites. And so your team is likely going to have a map where they've designated portals with numbers for non-locals that don't know the names to them. So it'll be like they can just say, go to portal 5 in cluster 1 and you'll know what to go to. These are usually confidential and specific to each team, so don't share those with the other team, whoever it is on there. But that'll help you be able to get around. And because those portals in that cluster will determine the points that your team earns each hour. And the way points are calculated changes a bit with each anomaly series. So I'm just going to go ahead and cover the basics of how they do points, and then you can find the exact point system for your anomaly. The very first thing that you're going to need to know about those points, though, is the measurement window, which is when the most intense battling will happen and when the points are actually determined. So what's going to happen is Niantic will take a random at a random time, just take a sample of one exact moment, and no players know the exact time of it, but they do know the general window of which it will occur. It's usually windows are going to be between 5 minutes to 10 minutes long after each hour on there. And then the time is going to be predetermined to make it fair. So it's not just like they go, oh, I like this team better, and they click it. So it's actually posted in a super encrypted hash with a password that gets released after the measurement, so everyone knows that it was fair after this. So you can go decrypt it and be like, oh, okay, that was right. So say that the window is 10 minutes long and the measurement period is at noon. Between noon and 12:10, Niantic will, at some predetermined point, take a screenshot and calculate the points. And those points are going to be calculated up off of both several factors, local and also global. So certain portals will be pre-marked in that cluster as volatile. It depends on how long before the pre-market's usually about like 15 minutes or less, and they're going to be worth more points to you when they're controlled by your faction. Every other non-volatile portal cluster is also worth points when controlled by your faction, but it's not as many. So those volatile portals become like the hot chick in the club. Like all the guys are fighting to get on there. But don't feel shy to grab one of the little grabies and be like, hey, maybe I can deploy my resonator on you for the night on there. But anyways, so points are going to be also awarded for links to the portals that are in the cluster, and between portals in the cluster as well, most of the time. And then finally, on the local points front, there's usually a bonus for having a field over a cluster. It's either a specific points bonus, like sometimes like 50 or 100 points, or it'll be like a percentage bonus to your team's normal cluster points, so like 40% bonus or something like that on the Shonen one. So if you're going to get 100 points, your team would get 140 instead. And Ingress is a global game though, so the points don't just end there. Not only do all the sites of the points, all the sites around the world combine for your team score, but on most anomalies, the team that has the most MU captured in the 8 cells connected to the cell where the actual anomaly is happening will also earn points, some variable amount of points for their team as well. So even players that can't attend the anomaly but live in that nearby area can actually go ahead and help out with the anomaly as well. And then finally, there's this thing called Shards that we'll cover in another episode that sometimes pop up that can sometimes contribute points, but they don't directly involve the anomaly site, and most people hate them. So remember, it's a global game with global points. Even if you lose your specific anomaly location, your team at the other sites could help you guys win, and that's why the satellite sites are so important as well to the game. So let's say you go through each cluster 1, and then you move to cluster 2, and then cluster 3, and then cluster 4 for all 4 of those measurements for each cluster, and you've battled hard. Your gear is low. Now what do? That's actually the easy part. You party. You party like a rich kid that inherited your parents' money and you don't know how to properly spend it, because at almost all satellite sites, agents will usually arrange either cross-faction or faction-specific parties that can be anything from an entire restaurant getting mobbed with green and blue to like a barbecue at a park where kids are suddenly asking their parents, "Mommy, that's a lot of people dressed alike. Is that a gang? And why do they all have their phones out? And what does I hacked a virus mean?" Or if you're lucky enough to be at a primary site, or occasionally they'll do it at satellite sites as well, Niantic will usually rent out a club and buy a round of drinks for all of the anomaly players that are over the legal drinking age. So Niantic is like your awesome college buddy that's back in town, just buys you a round of drinks, and then they'll give out swag while they're making the live broadcast of the worldwide anomaly results, so you actually know where your scores sit on there. And if for some reason that isn't good enough for you, swag and drinks and all that stuff, the Niantic actors will usually be at the after parties as well, and you can have quick chats with them. And I may or may not have told Stella Victory from Niantic's Endgame that I would gladly replace her deceased boyfriend Jake, and then I gave her my number, which she never used. I want to go to there. But Stella, if you're watching this, I just assume you lost my number, and I forgive you. Offer's still good. Just shoot me a Google Hangout, and I'll play Philip Seymour Hoffman, and we can engage in a comedical romance together. Anyways, sorry, got distracted. Her and Carrie Byron. The cool, amazing thing about Anomalies and Ingress, beyond just the fun that it's had, is that not only is Ingress real world, but it is also organic. So whoever wins the anomaly actually affects the storyline of Ingress, which I know is awesome, right? I mean, how many other games can you play where the players globally shape the story for everyone? So, I mean, you could literally be the player that makes the difference between whether Deborah Bogdanovich or Hank Johnson or someone else in the story lives or dies, and affects all the players' gameplay worldwide. So, I mean, you do not want to miss the next Anomaly series. I mean, make your travel plans, get your days off, find a babysitter so that you don't miss the best single day of Ingress that you'll ever have, and up until the next Anomaly series, at least. And I go to a lot of them, so maybe we'll run into each other there. If you see me, feel free to say hi, but I might be a little bit busy owning all the portals, so sorry if I don't say hi back immediately. And to find out how you can own all the portals in Anomaly, just check out Anomalies 201, which will cover different strategies and tips to use when you're going head-to-head against 1,000 other agents, which is insane. And to know when that video and all new videos are coming out, as always, just click that subscribe button right there. That'll make sure that you're always getting the latest possible tricks and tips on the game that we all love, Ingress. But the teaching does not just end there. It's not just videos, it's also live. So here's a list of dates. I'll be in cities running cross-faction teaching events. And just because the date is there doesn't mean that we actually have an event set yet. So hit me up and we'll set something up, or I'll let you know what's going on, or if we already have something planned there as well. In the meantime, thank you guys so much for watching. Have fun, go out there, play, destroy, deploy, and enjoy.